Our species has speculated about the nature of the reality we have found ourselves existing in since our species first arose on this planet. Over time, our species discovered information about our place in the universe, whether this be the ancient Greeks calculating that we live on a spherical planet, or scientists discovering that we exist in one of billions of galaxies. It seems as if over time, the small bubble that we thought that we existed in has expanded as our species' knowledge of our environment has improved. When we as individuals are confronted with the terrifying reality that we are incredibly small and fragile, and that we live in a universe where most things can kill us, we are hit with an overwhelming amount of existential dread. So today, I'm going to try and turn that existential dread into existential excitement. The fast-paced nature of the world we live in can distract us from the terrifying implications of how tiny we truly are, and how minimal our problems seem on a cosmic scale. This does not mean our problems do not matter, or that our species being small on a cosmic scale devalues us in some kind of way. We just have to come to accept that there are greater forces at play in this potentially infinite universe than the human race. Seeing our planet in all of its three-dimensional glory from the International Space Station must be an experience that puts our species' place in the cosmos into perspective. The astronauts on the space station are seeing our planet from a sort of out-of-body experience perspective. This is something that our species had never experienced for the hundreds of thousands of years we existed until recent history. Something that we are all very familiar with as humans is distance. We all travel to work or to other countries for holidays, and these distances feel extremely large to us, but cosmically they are essentially nothing. For example, the distance to the closest celestial object in the solar system, of course being the moon, is 238,000 miles away, which is equivalent to 30 Earths away. Let's span out a little further into the solar system and go to our neighbour planet, Mars. When Mars is closest to the Earth, it is around 33.9 million miles away. This distance with our current technology would take around 7 months to travel. Bear in mind this is of course the closest planet to ours. Mars isn't even a habitable world, so in an emergency, for example, if the effects of climate change become too hazardous, how far would we have to travel to get to the closest potentially habitable exoplanet? Scientists believe that the closest habitable exoplanet is Proxima b, which is 4.2 light-years away from Earth. This is over 24 trillion miles away, so it's safe to say that we are stuck here for the time being. To put this into perspective, the distance between planet Earth and Proxima b, which is in our neighbouring star system, is approximately 706,000 times the distance between the Earth and Mars. So it's safe to say that we are stranded, like a person in a life raft, in the middle of the ocean. Now you have to think to yourself, these distances that I have described are distances between our planet and objects in our solar system and in the closest star system. There are an estimated 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, and then there are billions of other galaxies in the observable universe. So until our species can travel space, then we are limited to what locations we can visit. So this information should tell us that we need to take care of the planet which so generously gave us life. Because if we don't, then it is very likely that our species, as well as many others, could go extinct. There is an amazing picture called the Pale Blue Dot which was taken by the Voyager 1 probe and shows Earth from 3.7 billion miles away. And it really puts all of what we have been discussing in today's video into perspective. On that small dot has been every person that has ever existed. All of the good and bad people, the rich and poor, the old and young, all of humanity's suffering, all for what? A piece of land on a small dot in a potentially infinite cosmos. We exist for a fraction of time, in a small corner of the universe. All of the evil acts committed for people's egos, all of the life lost tragically for rich dictators and politicians' gains. The picture shows us how fragile we truly are, and how seemingly meaningless all of our problems are outside of the confines of this planet. I would describe myself as a pretty optimistic person, who would love our species to get along and work together to help further our species and help other species on the planet. We all become encapsulated in the society that we are raised into and are conditioned to believe that's all that matters. But your happiness matters and your well-being matter. Do what makes you happy, as long as it doesn't cause harm to any others. It does not matter what society tells you, because nothing is perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect human being. So when you can, make sure you sit out and observe the night sky, and allow yourself some time to reset, and think deeply about some deep thoughts. Well, thank you all for watching this video. I really appreciate you all for sticking by and having a discussion on how we're so incredibly tiny, and how that doesn't really mean that our problems don't matter. It just means that there is a whole wider, bigger universe for us to understand, and that we can work together to try and understand it. And there are literally common things that we can all come together to try and solve, because we don't know everything. We're not the masters of this universe. We know barely anything, so realistically it makes sense as a species that, are all one and the same basically, to work together to try and understand more. And try and understand more about our absolute tiny nature and how massive this universe is and the potentially infinite nature to it. So if you enjoy these deep kind of thinking videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell to stay up to date with the latest content. I really appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day, evening or night. Peace out. Have a wonderful morning or day. Goodbye. I love you.